Mm. Well, our social service system was created, many of the policies in our social service system were created based on a report by Daniel Patrick Moynihan, who was a New York legislator back in the 60s. And in his report, he talked about the dysfunction and inferiority of Black families. We know that's not true, but based on that report, many of our social service systems were built. And part of the narrative is that, we as Black people are so childlike and unable to care for ourselves that white society must care for us. We are completely infantilized in the dominant narrative. And so part of that narrative is that, we are so inferior and dysfunction that we go out and we have all these babies and we can't support them and the daddies are all gone and therefore we are all the ones on welfare. I think what's really interesting about that narrative is it doesn't talk about the fact that there are far more white women on welfare than there are Black women. And it doesn't talk about the fact that our social service system was responsible for breaking up Black families. I mean, there are social workers still going and looking in people's houses under their beds to make sure there's no man living there. So if our social service system has split up Black families and has created systems and structures in our communities where we don't have infrastructure, we don't have access to opportunity, they really have created a dependency. But at the same time, it's not true that we are the ones who are using welfare the most. Just like it's not true that we were the ones that used affirmative action the most. I mean, we can go down the line and find so many places where that narrative is flawed. And so, the reason I told Tasia's story is because I really wanted to show from the inside what this young mother was experiencing. I think the narrative is that Black women just going around, having babies willy-nilly and we don't think anything of it. It's like a job for us. And I wanted to show Tasia's pain and her shame and her just so much. I mean, I was a single mother with 4 small children for a decade, and I was very well educated. Didn't matter in the way people treated me. I was still treated as if I was a welfare queen, just from interactions, right? So, that narrative is so pervasive. It's so pervasive. And I just wanted to show a different side of it.